Sherry, Christy, and Adria. We are going to be learning a little bit more about one of my favorite species. We're going to be going on a research expedition featuring these animals to learn how research can show us how dolphins lead their lives in the oceans. This is Spinnaker, ladies and gentlemen. He is a male dolphin in his early 20s who is really showing off for us right now. He's certainly not the only animal. He's joined by two females who go by the names of Helen and Hannah. How about a big round of applause for the stars of our show? Spinnaker, Helen, and Hannah are obviously dolphins from the ways that they're leaping through the air, but if you saw behavior like this in the wild, you would have to ask yourself, what species of dolphin am I seeing? In British Columbia, there are about a dozen different types of dolphins and porpoises that can be found across the coast. To tell which one is which, you have to look at the color patterns on their bodies. Helen and Hannah are showing for us that these dolphins have pale stripes down their sides, which give them the names Pacific white-sided dolphins. Surprisingly enough, they are found in the Pacific Ocean, as far north as Alaska, as far south as California, and all the way across into the waters of Japan. Pacific white-sided dolphins have a reputation as being some of the world's most social and most acrobatic animals, as Helen is demonstrating for us right now. However, splashy behaviors like those that Hannah is now showing us are not just interesting to us because they are big and they are exciting. They're also really interesting to researchers because we're seeing more behaviors like this right here on the coast of BC. About 150 Pacific white-sided dolphins were recently spotted right here in our coastal waters, which is unusual because Pacific white-sided dolphins previously were thought to spend all of their time in the open ocean. There have been more sightings of them in parts of the ocean that we use near the land over the past 30 years than there ever have been before, and researchers have been taking lots and lots of time to photograph these animals so we can learn a little bit more about the differences between the individuals and hopefully eventually identify exactly who's who. You can take some photographs today and see if you can look for some identifying characteristics to tell which of our dolphins is which. I can see right now that Spinnaker is closest to me, that Helen is in the center, and Hannah is a little bit further away. Now, how did I do that? By looking at the colors on their bodies. All of these dolphins have slight differences in their swirling patterns, and if you don't get a full body view like this, you can always look to the dorsal fin on the dolphins' backs. Each dorsal fin is kind of like a fingerprint. No two are exactly alike. Note how Spinnaker's dorsal fin has much more pale gray than dark gray, how Helen's is very curved, and how Hannah, who's furthest away from me, has a dorsal fin that's very triangular like a shark's with not very much curve at all. Use this to test yourself and see if you can remember which dolphin is which. But now that we've worked a little bit on learning who the individuals are, a researcher would need to know what are these individuals that are in their mouths very much when they are gobbling it down that meal. So I've got a question for everybody in the audience today. Do you guys think that Pacific white-sided dolphins never use their teeth? We're not sure. Well, maybe I'll have to ask the experts on this one. What do you think? Dolphins, do you never use your teeth? I think I'm seeing some head shaking here in the water. No. In fact, Spinnaker, Helen, and Hannah are not really answering my question today, but they are showing what they could do with those teeth and how those teeth could be useful. A large fish like an adult salmon could be grasped in those teeth and torn apart with a head-shaking motion like this one. And this is one of the fish that we think Pacific white-sided dolphins are eating here when they come to the coasts of BC. However, Spinnaker are leaping through the water. When their dark backs reach the water, they blend in with the bottom of the exhibit really nicely. Helen's bright white belly could also be useful because animals swimming underneath her would see it blend in with the bright sky up above. Now, looking at these colors, you can imagine how counter-shading would be useful, but what if a dolphin was spotted? What if a large predator like the world's biggest dolphin species, the killer whale, were to come too close? Well, Pacific white-sided dolphins have to be wary because killer whales can be extremely fierce predators, but because of their enormous size, they are usually not quite as agile as a Pacific white-sided dolphin. Their smaller cousins, in fact, can move as quickly as you can drive here in Stanley Park. And I think that our dolphins have demonstrated this extreme speed beautifully. Of course, there is something to be said for the direct approach. If a smaller predator, like a shark, were to come too close to a dolphin's territory, the powerful snout end of a dolphin, referred to as a rostrum, is about as hard as a baseball bat. As you can see, Pacific white-sided dolphins have no problem taking aim. You can imagine that if you were a shark recovering in fear of humans, they can no longer leave us in their natural homes. By showing off and playing here at the Vancouver Aquarium, we hope that Helen, Hannah, and Spinnaker will all be able to give you a better understanding of these animals and will help our team to better study them and come up with better ways to protect them in their You can, of course, protect dolphins by never leaving any pieces of garbage that could be potential choking hazards on the beaches, and of course by coming out to aquariums like ours and supporting all of our research and conservation programs. I want a big round of applause for these stars of our show, our animal ambassadors, the Pacific white-sided dolphins here at the Vancouver Aquarium. Spinnaker, Helen, and Hannah are just incredible creatures. They've got an amazing survival story, and I hope that all of you will take some time to learn a little bit more about them throughout the rest of your day here at the aquarium. We've reached the tail end of our show, but as we wave goodbye, I'm going to invite you to learn a little bit more by heading downstairs across the way or back into the main building and around the spiral staircase to visit the dolphins from our underwater viewing gallery and read out a little more on Pacific white-sided dolphin.